All right, this is a live about the QL, and I want to show you some really important things about the QL. So when we think about the QL, we're looking at a muscle that's attaching between the lowest rib, the 12th rib, the vertebrae, and the pelvis, right? So we're looking at something like this, yeah? So when we're engaging, when this muscle is engaging, then we can see the rib cage move down this way, or we can see the pelvis move up this way. So there's a side bending component to that QL when it contracts and the pelvis here stays fixed. It will pull the ribs this way. If the ribs stay fixed, it will pull this. Okay, those are two versions of what the QL does. If the QL on either side of the spine engages, then it will move the spine into extension. Now, there's conversation about it's not being a huge extensor, but it still does that work. Now, it also fixes the ribs. So when you exhale, like think about Pilates, yeah, it can fix the ribs for that forceful exhalation. Okay, so here's the other thing that's really vital that I speak about a lot around the QL that I call the superhero of compensation, which you imagine like a caped feller kind of swooping in to save the day, the superhero of compensation. And one of the reasons it can do that is that, let's say like there's an issue with the hip. Think about like limping, like you've sprained your ankle or you're due for a hip surgery or a knee surgery or something. Then what that QL does a really great job of is a great job of hiking that hip to swing that leg forward, Makes a lot of sense, right? Thank goodness we have it as that ability to do that, right? Like thank goodness the QL will do that. It will do that. Now, the thing is though, is that over a period of time, that can become the ingrained neuromuscular pattern. So that can create some issues in that QL. It is compensating for something it's not even designed to do. But thank goodness it's doing it, or we would not necessarily get from point A to point B. So when someone has long-standing QL issues, that might be part of what is going on. And in order to help that QL not have to do that hip hiking, because now there's a trained pattern to do that when we think about walking, we need to actually improve the way that leg bone moves in the hip socket. So a big thing post hip surgery, post knee surgery is to retrain the gait pattern. So it's the leg bone that's actually doing the motion, not some hip hiking action. And retraining the way that the rib cage and pelvis move in rotation, not hiking. However, guess what? That retraining pattern doesn't always happen. And guess what occurs? A freaking persistency of issue in the QL. And then people begin to wonder, why is my QL not getting better? Why? Because it is the superhero of compensation. It's doing its darndest to help you out. So for us to get better with our QL, rather than getting annoyed with it and agitated with totally emotional understanding that emotions like that exist, totally, we need to help it out. And one of the big things is, at least for this video, is we need to be able to help retrain this pattern so that the leg bone actually relearns how to move in the hip socket, that the tissue in and around this area here can become retrained to do the job the way it's supposed to be done. Then the QL can start to settle out. Okay, so I'm going to show you one thing that you can do. Guess what? I also have a course on the QL coming up. I'll put the link down below in the comment. Please come if you've got a QL issue. If you're someone who works professionally with people, please come. I have huge success working with people with QL issue and getting it settled out. Okay, so here's something I want you to pay attention to. Okay, so if I'm here, I'm on my mat. Okay, now watch my pelvis. If I bring common movement. If I bring my ankle to my knee, this is my leg bone moving in the pelvis. I'm going to come out because I see a bunch of comments here. I'm going to come out on this side. Okay, so see this? See how my pelvis is doing the movement? Look at my hip joint. It's not going anywhere. So we think that we're doing this, but we're not. Instead, we're doing this. I didn't do that very well. We're doing this, yeah? We're doing this motion, yeah? We want to be able to do this motion, not this motion, yeah? So we've got to retrain this, yeah? And the way we retrain it, I want you to think not which which muscles do I need to engage? What I want you to think about is thinking about the leg bone motion in the pelvis. Like come into your skeleton here and think about, okay, let's move this leg bone in the hip socket. Practice doing that while keeping your pelvis quiet, while keeping all of this quiet, and bring that ankle onto the knee, okay? Play with that and see what happens. Yeah, it's just one little thing that you can practice to explore, to notice how that can provide some ease, step by step, ease to your QL. Your QL can recover really, really, really quickly. I know that sounds strange, but it's true. All right, so check that comment down below. I'll put the link there for you, okay? See you next time.